What's going on, everyone? Nuclear Ninjas here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Frillish in the Great League Remix Cup. Frillish is obviously the pre-evolution to Jellicent and shares the same typing. It also maxes out at 1438 CP even with Best Buddy. Overall, there is absolutely no reason to ever run a Frillish in Open Great League. It has a lower stat product than Jellicent, worse moves, and is more expensive to build. The only reason you would ever want to build a Frillish is for Great League Remix, where Jellicent is banned this season. Basically, just take any team you would run a Jellicent on last season and swap in Frillish. It'll be almost the same thing. The team I ended up using was the well-known Obstagoon Drapion core with Frillish tossed in the back. Obstagoon runs Counter, Cross Chop, Night Slash, Drapion has Poison Sting, Aqua Tail Crunch, and Frillish has Bubble, Ice Beam, Ominous Wind. Frillish does not learn Shadow Ball or Bubble Beam, so this was legitimately my best option. With that all out of the way, let's get into the battles. Picking up my first battle against Lucario with a K, we have Toxicroak into Obstagoon. I typically just kind of assume Toxicroak is running Counter. That's what most of them run. So I swap out right away because I don't want to stick around to get shredded by counters with Obstagoon. And we're going to go into our designated safe swap Drapion and start spamming out Aqua Tails. The opponent actually decides to tank an Aqua Tail and then dip with energy. And this is fine with me. I am able to get off a crunch on this Kingdra, and now I'm just hoping that I'll be able to flip switch. I'm willing to commit shields to do it. So right here, I actually know this is Noctizuka. I'm not expecting an outrage, but I shield anyway because I need switch, and even an Noctizuka is going to do enough to cause me a problem. They get the debuff, but I'm still able to do a crunch, and that takes him out. So I flip switch at this point, and we're able to get off an Aqua Tail before Drapion goes down to the counters. And we even get a shield. I'm really surprised the opponent decided to shield a debuffed Aqua Tail from a Drapion, because Aqua Tail is not a very hard hitting move. It's non-stab, and like I said, I was debuffed. And Toxicroak can't really do much to Frillish, and with the flip switch, the opponent actually has a Metagross in the back, and this is a great matchup for Obstagoon. So I decided to let this go. I figured I could tank it and survive, and now I'm able to get off the Night Slash with Obstagoon. I guess I also probably could have shielded that, but the problem is I didn't want the Toxicroak to come in and farm down and end up with 2 Mud Bombs to be able to really hurt the pressure of the Frillish. So I figured I'd save my shield. And also, Metagross doesn't have a great matchup against Frillish either. Now at this point, I'm figuring this is a Mud Bomb because it's the only thing he can really hit me with, but we just have to shield that up. We get to the Ominous Wind, accidentally overfarmed by a bubble, but it's fine. We still get there. And Ominous Wind takes out the Toxicroak. First win, and Frillish actually did work in that battle. That wasn't just Obstagoon and Drapion carrying. Picking up our next battle right away with essentially 0 lobby time, we're going up against Satoshi with a bunch of numbers around the name, and it's Goon into Goon. So what I usually like to do here is, when the opponent throws their first charge move, I try to sneak in a counter. And there we go, we snuck in the counter. So now I just have to shield, and I can farm all the way down and come out of this with 2 charge moves loaded. The opponent actually aggressively swaps into Alomomola, or Alomomola, I don't really know how to pronounce it. And I'm like, okay, we're just going to throw this Night Slash to chip. And Alomomola isn't very spammy, so I can go into Drapion. I don't have to worry about him getting off a whole bunch of charge moves. And I'm like, that seemed kind of quick to me. I'm not sure I'm buying that this is a Hydro Pump or Blizzard, and it is just a resisted Psychic. So now I farm up a ton more energy. The opponent sneaks in a Waterfall, which is super unfortunate, but I've got back-to-back crunches loaded here. First one gets a shield and a defense drop. Second crunch is going to go through, and I keep switch, and now we're even on shields again. So I actually bring in Frillish to the Obstagoon here because I figured my own Obstagoon was just going to get shredded. Farm up a bit of energy and then aggressively swap to counter him down once he's within range that I can counter him down before he counters me down. and go for the Night Slash on this Hypno, because obviously that's the only thing I'm going to throw, and because the confusion is so slow to register, we're actually able to get out 3 counters and throw another Night Slash before I go down to the confusion damage. So at this point, we're looking pretty comfortable because I don't think this, even if this is a Thunder Punch, it's not going to KO, and he's not to a Shadow Ball yet. So, yeah, just a Thunder Punch. We throw 1 bubble and then hit the Ominous Wind, so the opponent gets 1 free turn of energy. Just basic tactics there, and the Ominous Wind takes out the Shadow Hypno. So, pulling in another win. Picking up my next battle against Hunter Mac 811, we have Obstagoon into Whiscash. Now, I am glad I'm seeing the Whiscash here as opposed to on my Drapion. Slightly laggy start. I'm a turn behind at this point, I think. And basically here we just hope the counters add up, chip damage with Night Slash, and in this case I actually get the boost, which I don't really change how I play this depending on the boost. The main difference is I'm now going to be able to potentially either win or take shield advantage. Normally, without boost, Whiscash wins this in the 0 shield. So, this is not... oh, okay, I guess I do shield this. I must be thinking of a later battle that I no-shielded in a similar situation. And the opponent brings in an Ariados, which is really interesting, and also Ariados, I believe, is something that does not want to see Frillish, because Poison Jab, or Poison Sting is resisted, Cross Poison's resisted, Lunge is resisted. I don't think Ariados has anything to hit me with, really. And we're also already up on shields, so we're in a pretty comfortable position here. Just gonna keep throwing bubbles and ice beams, and eventually they're gonna add up. So not much to worry about here. And the question is, do I get to this? Nope, they get to another move. I'm like, okay, this doesn't KO, so I have no reason to shield. And I probably, honestly, the opponent was low enough. I should have gone for the Ominous Wind there, just on the off chance I get the boost, but this works too. Honestly, if I got the boost, it might have ended up working against me if the opponent got extra farm out of it, but Whiscash cannot farm down with these mud shots, and Frillish, they end up having to throw. The opponent has a Crustle in the back, and this is GG, because I have Aqua Tail, and we can significantly outspam Crustle, plus I have a shield left. So I believe the opponent's going to back out soon. Yep, there we go. There's the back out. 3 straight wins for the Obstagoon, Drapion, Frillish team. Jumping into this next battle here, we pick up a negative lead in Nidoqueen. Obviously, it resists counter, and anything that resists counter is usually going to be a bad matchup for Obstagoon unless it's a Psychic type. So I let this go because obviously it's just a Poison Fang. The opponent did not bait the Earth Power, and now they switch. That is something that happens a decent amount when you safe swap Drapion into Nidoqueen. Sometimes they Poison Fang and dip. Other times they will build up to the Earth Power and either bait or just try to nuke you. And now we get to play one of the most boring matchups in the game, which is the super spammy Aqua Tails versus Mandibuzz using its Air Slash Aerial Ace set. On the bright side, at least it's not Snarl, because, I mean, Snarl would be better for me in terms of trying to win the match, but it's less painful to watch Air Slash just because it's a little bit quicker, like a microscopic amount quicker. And I'm obviously going to let this go. This Drapion is not worth much to me at this point, and I don't even necessarily care about Switch because Nidoqueen resists the counters. It doesn't resist the Night Slashes. So I'm thinking I'll just take a big farm on this Mandibuzz, and the opponent aggressive swaps into Nidoqueen. I don't think that was the play there when you have Switch. But I guess they really didn't want me to get that farm down. And now I correctly shield an Earth Power, which is huge. And I don't really want to take a Poison Fang here, so I'm going to bait the Ominous Wind real quick. I think this actually takes it out at this range anyway. Yeah, Shadow Nidoqueen's pretty glassy. And a Lantern comes in. And this is not the best. Lantern obviously is resisting the bubbles, resists Ice Beam, so all I can really hit it with is Ominous Wind. And I'm also already down a shield, so Gonna keep firing off these Ominous Winds. That Ominous Wind actually gets a shield for some reason. I'm not sure why someone would... And the opponent aggressive swaps again. And I think they actually gave me a win con by aggressively swapping there. If they just stayed in with the Lantern, they could have farmed the Frillish all the way down, thrown 2 Thunderbolts on the Obstagoon and taken it out. But because I got all of that farm off of the Mandibuzz, we're able to go for the back-to-back Night Slashes here. And that is going to... Okay, we got the second shield. And at this point, if he throws... Mandibuzz can't stack moves back-to-back. So when they throw, now all I have to do is get off an Ominous Wind with a Frillish, which I already have loaded. And that's GG. So yeah, lesson there for my opponent. I would say don't feel like you have to switch out just because you're at 100 energy. Sometimes it's okay to farm past 100 energy rather than risking giving your opponent all that energy, because I had no win con if they just stayed in with the... I already forget what that thing is called. Stayed in with the Lantern. Could pick up another match against Yagi Sakairo. I think I missed like half of that name because I was still talking about the previous battle. And it's Obstagoon into regular Stunfisk, the legitimate Stunfisk that is actually morally acceptable to run. And this matchup is pretty boring too, honestly. Basically, Stunfisk outpaces Obstagoon just ever so slightly with the Mud Bombs. If it throws 2 Mud Bombs, it's a 5-4 count, whereas Obstagoon is just 5-5-5-5-5 forever. And Stunfisk is also pretty tanky, but the counters add up more than the Mud Shots, so I believe if the opponent lets me sneak in a move, I can potentially flip this, but normally it's a losing matchup for Obstagoon. And yep, there we go. And I'm obviously just going to let this go. It's not really worth it to me to try to flip switch here. Come in with a Frillish, 3 bubbles down. The Stunfisk doesn't get to a move. And we see a Greedent come in. And I'm like, all right, watch this. Boom, catching a Crunch. Everything is going well. Assuming this is a Crunch, they might have baited with Body Slam, but that would be a risky bait. Double resisted as opposed to super effective. And there's Nidoqueen in the back, so this is kind of sketchy. This is also a really obvious Poison Fang, no build up to the Earth Power. I'm obviously just going to start throwing these Aqua Tails out at the Nidoqueen and seeing how much damage I can do. Aqua Tail is not quite a 2-hit KO. If this were Shadow Nidoqueen, Aqua Tail would be a 2-hit KO, which would be way better for me, but unfortunately the opponent can just kind of stay in and tank this. I'm going to go ahead and shield this and bank some energy and then swap into Frillish and just nuke this Nidoqueen with an Ice Beam. Boom, Nidoqueen's down. And now we've got Greedent again coming back in. This thing, I believe, was Energy Dry. I don't think he stayed in to throw any more Bullet Seeds after I caught the Crunch. So we're even on shields. We've got a Drapion that has some energy loaded. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to let this go and then throw back-to-back Crunches with Drapion. But the problem here, where I got screwed, was Crunch didn't quite KO Frillish. And then I also, I guess, just didn't quite know my counts for how it worked when you're throwing Crunches and then Body Slams. Apparently, if you throw a Crunch, then after that, the Body Slams don't require just 3-3-3. I guess either I missed a Bullet Seed somewhere, or he just only needed 2 Bullet Seeds to get to that last Body Slam. And we're turned short. I could have just thrown double Aqua Tails there, but I know Greedent is super spammy, and I'm not 100% sure Aqua Tail KOs at that range. But in any case, definitely would have been worth trying to KO with Aqua Tail if I'd known I couldn't get to the Crunch, but I thought I could get there, so everyone screws up sometimes. Picking up our rewards, and going into our next set here, we pick up a battle against Fabiananos. I'm probably mispronouncing that, like I do 90% of the names in this game. And Goon versus Goon match. We know how this goes. I try to sneak a move in. The opponent actually swaps to Golbat, and then I get to pick up some lag. So at this point, I have no idea how much energy the Golbat has or how much energy I have. I'll be able to figure out how much energy. Okay, so I'm not sure I actually missed anything there. But the downside of these Golbat save swaps is I really don't have a super reliable response to it. It can Shadow Ball the Frillish, And if the opponent decides to go down on shields, I can't stop them from flipping switch on the Drapion versus Golbat matchup. I realize I'm not going to get to double Aqua Tails, so I just go for the crunch. If I could get to 2 Aqua Tails, that would be the play. And the opponent actually decided not to flip switch, which is great for me. And they come back in with their Obstagoon. We sneak a counter through. And at this point, okay, shielded the Night Slash, but no boost for the opponent. And I realize my opponent is about to get to... they're going to counter me down before I counter them down, so I throw there. A Frostlass comes out, and this is going to be a kind of tricky one for me to pull off, if I can't even pull it off. Basically, my only win con here, I just have to pray the opponent baits, because Frostlass can take out Frillish going straight Shadow Ball. So, what's it going to be? Okay, they know they can just go straight Shadow Ball and top left. Or, okay, I just let him farm me down. It wasn't really worth the effort to top left when I have 3 health left on my Obstagoon. So, starting this next set off with a loss, let's see if we can turn this set around. Pick up a match against PoGo into... PoGo into... I don't know, sometimes I see a name and it doesn't quite click right away, but I'm not really sure what that's referencing, or if that's referencing anything, or if the fact it's made up of B, Go, In, and To is just a coincidence. Anyway, this Whiscash matchup is kind of boring because we've seen it before. I'm just going to go ahead and throw some Night Slashes. This time I don't get the boost, but I do manage to sneak a counter in right there, which means I can potentially CMP tie them on the 3rd charge move. The opponent swaps to Wigglytuff aggressively, and we go into our Frillish, and I'm pretty sure, get to 2 Ice Beams here, maybe if I'm lucky, hopefully. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to be able to get to 2 Ice Beams here. The opponent throws, and I'm like, okay, this is worth shielding because it'll get me to a 2nd Ice Beam. And Ice Beam, we're going to get to see how much this does to Wigglytuff. Spoiler alert, it's like half-ish, not quite enough. Oh, okay, we don't get to see how much it does to Wigglytuff. Guess that was a different battle. So, we are obviously going to come with Drapion because the Obstagoon is about to die. And I'm just going to get to this Aqua Tail after 3 charms, not risking anything there. And can I farm down? I can farm down before the Wigglytuff gets to a charge move. I've got energy loaded. And I'm actually feeling pretty comfortable at this point. They actually deliberately bring in Hypno against Drapion. That's a questionable decision, to say the least. But obviously we're just going to take out the crunches. I mean, obviously I could have just Aqua-tailed the Obstagoon, or the Whiscash. Oh, no, I would have crunched the Whiscash. For some reason, I was thinking they had an Obstagoon in the lead. I'm completely losing track of what's going on here. All the battles kind of blur together after a while. Picking up a ton of lag. But eventually we managed to play through the lag, swap to Obstagoon, and get off a Night Slash to take the win. So, everything works out. Plus, we get the boost. Victory is mine. It is kind of funny how, like, honestly, it's like when I'm battling, I am dialed in, going up against Tack, Go, W. But when I'm battling anyway, it's like I'm completely... Ooh, Greedent, that's a positive lead. But the opponent swaps to Mandibuzz, and I do not have an obvious Mandibuzz response. And we let an Air Slash sneak in because I'm legitimately terrible at this game. So, cross-chop the Mandibuzz, and then... do I switch here to try and save the Obstagoon for the Greedent matchup, or do I just try to deal with Greedent with Drapion? Okay, yeah, I switch to the Drapion, and we go for the super boring Aqua Tail spam against the Mandibuzz game. But like I was saying, it's kind of funny, like sometimes when I'm in the battles, it's like I'm totally dialed in, I'm counting all of the energy, I know exactly what's on their team, I'm predicting what they're going to have on the team, and then I go back and do commentary, and it's just like, okay, so I think Mandibuzz is a dark type. I'm not totally sure. Like, it's literally like there are just 2 different realities of who I am depending on what the situation is. And this Mandibuzz is going to get to another Aerial Ace here, but I'm thinking, honestly, I should be able to bank some energy on the Obstagoon before I take out this Mandibuzz. And that's going to let me get to some moves that are going to seriously threaten whatever he brings in next. Like, I can always at least get to a crunch with a debuff chance, potentially. It's a Frostlass. We get to the crunch with 1 HP into Dream. And get a notification that I'm definitely going to blur out. They actually let me land the crunch, and that is an interesting play. So I bring in Frillish to farm down here. The opponent swaps to Greedent, and I'm like, okay, I can Ice Beam your Greedent. And now I guess, swap to Obstagoon, and both sides still 2 shields left, and we're like over halfway through this battle. So both sides are saving their shields right now. I'm expecting to see some shields, but I also don't want to throw a Night Slash and potentially give them a win con when they don't need to have one, because at this point they've got a super low Frostlass and a super low Greedent. And I actually no-shield this Body Slam because I realize basically what I can do here is come in with the Frillish, bubble down. I know this thing won't one-shot me even with Crunch because we saw that earlier when I wanted it to take me out. And now I'm just going to shield, and I have a move loaded and a shield for the Frostlass, so even if he manages to force a CMP tie... Oh wait, I don't have a move quite loaded, but... This Frostlass does not have 2 moves, so now I just have to shield a move from the Frostlass, and the bubble is going to take it out. Or I'm going to throw an Ominous Wind. And that is going to be another clutch win with Frillish putting in actual work. Picking up another battle against 1GPR. And we have Goon into Mandibuzz. Whether this is positive or negative depends on the Mandibuzz. This one is running Snarl, so that is going to be a positive matchup for the Obstagoon, assuming I don't just constantly let Snarl sneak through like I just did. I don't know why I did that, because I definitely could just play it safe and give him 1 free turn of energy every time in this matchup. Goon still wins in that situation. And farming up a ton here before I go for the next cross chop. And now basically, yes, I am as bored as you are if that's what you're wondering, but Goon versus Mandibuzz, I don't want to switch out of this just to make more interesting content, and honestly, Mandibuzz versus anything is kind of boring. Nothing hits really well against Mandibuzz. We're really low on health. I am staring at the top right corner of my screen right now, because I'm waiting for them to try to swap to snipe me. If they have like a fighting type in the back, they could easily throw a counter and snipe me. And Goon is able to take out the Mandibuzz, assuming they don't shield, which I doubt they will. Mandibuzz almost never shields anything. Opponent brings in a Marshtomp, which is able to get a decent amount of farm against me, but we have Frillish, which is a... Honestly, it's not even that strong against Marshtomp, because Marshtomp acts more like a ground type than it's a ground type that's not weak to water, essentially. The opponent brings out a Melmetal, and Thunder Shocks are super effective, even though they don't do much, so I'm just going to go ahead and swap out. I also, honestly, the main reason I swap there is I really don't want Drapion to have to go up against the Marshtomp. That would be a really negative matchup. So, throw a Crunch. And at this point, this is actually a super even match, and I'm like, okay, he's going to shield here, right? He's going to shield? No shield. The opponent does not shield. Okay, well, they're definitely going to shield now, right? Right? I mean, there's 2 shields left on both sides. You have to shield something at some point. Okay. Nothing is shielded, and I get the defense drop. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to let this go. This Drapion is not worth keeping around. I get Mud Bombed. And come on, bubble down, bubble down. I can bubble down. I can tank a Mud Bomb. I can tank a Mud Bomb and bubble down, and the opponent backs out. 4 shield flex. That's what's up. Yeah, I really don't know what was going on that battle. Like, use your shields. I don't understand. Maybe they thought everything I threw was going to be a bait, but at some point you even want to shield the bait moves just so you use your shields and don't get quick moved down from full health. All right, positive lead. Goon into Empoleon, and Then we're going to go ahead and counter swap. The opponent brings out a Superior, which is a decently spicy pick, but apparently either just wanted to get the damage off with the Frenzy Plant or is not running Leaf Tornado. And Drapion's a pretty comfortable matchup against Superior. Gonna go straight for this Crunch because I'm actually still decently healthy and I don't feel like taking another Frenzy Plant. And this way I'll be able to do some damage to the Empoleon before it farms me down. So, getting all the way to this Crunch, and I think I might even get to an Aqua Tail after this Crunch because I'm not quite within Waterfall range. So now the question is the opponent counting and are they confident in their counts? Because this cannot be a Crunch. They know it's an Aqua Tail. If they are counting well, they were not, and we get a shield with an Aqua Tail. So I'm like, okay, I'm already up a shield. Might as well just go ahead and shield this Hydro Cannon to keep my goon healthy. I don't know what's in the back yet. And the opponent just stays in and lets me farm their Empoleon all the way down. And turns out it's a Melmetal in the back, so that wouldn't really have been much better if they had swapped into it. So now, going for these double cross chops, and I am counting the Thunder Shocks. And the move I try to pull here is to catch. I successfully catch the move, and I'm like, please be a superpower. It'd be hilarious if I just call it superpower, but it is a Rock Slide, so sometimes you try to catch just for the sole purpose of being mean when you already have the game won, and it just doesn't work out. The opponent baited when I was trying to catch the non-bait move. And I'm just going to go ahead and take the win with this Ice Beam against the Melmetal. So pretty straightforward win there. That one was just kind of a rock, paper, scissors team alignment type deal. And after losing the first battle, I'm able to recover the set for 4-1 and pick up my, that's a shiny Snorlax. Yeah, shiny. Boom, see? Editing. And come on, stay in ball, stay in ball. Okay, apparently we're going to spend half an hour catching this Snorlax, or maybe I'll just edit all of this out. So overall, do you want a Frillish? As I stated in the beginning, don't do it for the Open Great League. Jellicent has an absolute advantage over Frillish in stats, moves, and cost effectiveness. I would also say that unlike me, you should probably build an Ultra League Jellicent before building a Great League Frillish. It would be a better use of your resources. That said, if you have the Stardust and Candies, this thing legitimately isn't bad, and with Jellicent banned in Remix, a lot of people don't expect it and don't have counters for it like they would in previous seasons. Like the video if you like the video, dislike if you disliked, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and comment below if you have a good idea for a Frillish team.